Hey, what's up, everybody? Chief here. Thanks for dropping by the podcast this afternoon. Should be getting things kicked off here in just a moment. Let me know if the audio is good for you guys. Been playing around with the new system here, so just want to make sure everything is good. Looks like quite a few people already here waiting to get some things started. All right, audio is good. Then let's go ahead and get things rolling. All right, so like I said, thank you all for joining me on the podcast today. Islander is on his way. He did message me, so he should be getting home right about now and jumping into the call. So I figured I'd go ahead and get things started here on time. Hold on one second, guys. Looks like Islander is actually ready, but he is trying to get into the channel, but can't for some reason. Let me, sorry, I been moving around a lot of stuff here with the channel, so I'm going to be, if you guys haven't noticed already, there's quite a few changes here, but let me try and find Islander. Looks like he should have the correct stuff here. Sorry, we're actually going to be doing the podcast here from my channel Discord. Usually I would be doing it from another Discord, but see if I can... let me try my iPad here. I do apologize for the delay. Just going to try and get him added in. Here, I'll just give him all kinds of roles here. Alright. So, if Islander's listening, try and jump into the live stream channel now. Oh, that worked. Alright, guys. But anyway, before I actually bring him onto the stream, like I said, thank you all for joining me for the podcast. I know it's been a couple of weeks since we actually did one, but you know, I had a lot of stuff going on. But we are back at it, and I know you guys have been eagerly awaiting this one. Lots to talk about with the Shotgun Nerfs and new operation, everything else. But let me go ahead and bring Islander in here. And for those of you that you know, aren't already, seriously, drop a sub to my channel, go over to Islander's channel, sub to him as well, and as always, drop a like on the video. So let me go ahead and pull Islander into it, and we will get everything rolling.
Hey.
Hey, what's up, Eddie?
Hey, what's going on, Chief? How you doing?
I'm doing all right. Let me just make sure that your audio is good for everybody on YouTube. New setup, new location, everything else. So go ahead and say what you got to say. And for the viewers, let me know if you guys are having a hard time hearing Islander at all.
What's going on, fellas? How the hell are you? How y'all hearing me, guys? Thumbs up, thumbs down, let us know. Can you hear me?
Waiting for him to reply.
Alright. You know what? I can just get on YouTube just as easily. I was having kind of a hard time getting into the channel.
Yeah, sorry. I thought I had it unlocked for you, but I just threw you all of the roles. So something worked. Okay, so they say you are a tad low, so let me go ahead and actually bump you up over here.
Y'all keep giving us feedback on the sound, guys. Let me know where my voice is at. Too high, too low, too squeaky, too graggly, too gravelly. Speak up, guys. Yes, you're fine. All right. Good deal, guys.
We'll bump you up a little bit anyway.
Okay.
All right, that should be a little bit better for him.
And let me go ahead and pre-apologize in advance. I have my little nephew, so if you hear a wicked scream or yell, that's him just running around the house. So early apology, guys, for in case he lets you know.
All right, so anyway, looks like we've got a pretty full house already. Quite a few people tuning in for this one, which was kind of expected with all the crap that's going on with the game, namely the shotgun rebalance, is what they're calling it, but it's a little deceiving because it's not really a rebalance; it's an outright nerf.
It is an outright nerf. There's no two ways about it. It's a nerf. Call it what you want. It is what it is. It's a flat out nerf, and it's coming right on the eve of a new weapon coming out, pretty much like we did with the cryo weapons right before they nerfed the Orkin. So,
right,
not happy.
It's I think the biggest problem that I have with what they're doing is honestly, it's the extreme nerf that they're giving them. They talk about wanting to rebalance, on one hand and try and keep all of the weapons in this cool little graph like they showed on the dev stream. But with what they're actually doing to them, they are going to completely fall off of that graph and nobody is going to be using them. It's... I don't know why they're not listening to the feedback. But,
well, they constantly say that the feedback is important and they want to hear what we have to say. And I would love to defend them on something like this. I just can't. On the contrary, I'm on the opposite end, throwing stones as well. Yeah, it's a bad nerf. Okay, it's not only are we getting a shell dispersion and a few fewer rounds for the storm in a drum. The 2-second reload time is just beyond ridiculous. You're not. If somebody else is bringing any other kind of weapon to the fight, and you got to wait 2 seconds to reload your next round while he's pumping you full of ammo for 2 seconds, you're not going to be standing there very long.
And to be honest with you, I'm actually okay with most of the nerf that they're planning and even some of the reasoning behind it. But like you said, it's that 2-second reload that is just absolutely making them just completely useless. They're going from a very strong weapon that can be used in a lot of situations, which I can understand. That's probably why they're wanting to nerf it, but the reload in and of itself is what is going to absolutely ruin them, because like you said, 2 seconds for one more shot, it doesn't matter how much they increase the damage on that one shot. 2 seconds, you're going to be dead.
Right.
And there's just nothing you can do. But some of the other changes they're doing to them though, like making them a little bit more bursty. I think that's a good idea. I have no problem with that.
The 8 to 5 on the storm should have happened a while back when they did that to the Gust. They should have done those at the same time. And every other shotgun in the game has 5 rounds, so I'm okay with that. And if we didn't have Titans in our current meta, I would be completely okay with some type of reduction in power, maybe reduction in range, maybe a wider spread in range. But the fact that we're dealing with some big ass Titans right now, okay, and very powerful Titans once they get leveled up, it's hard enough to fight them with the guns that we have right now. Now you're making it impossible to even fight back. Once the Titans get on the field, you have no other choice but to drop your Titans.
Right. And that's a lot that plays into it too, is the Titans. The Titans, when they got released, they kind of sucked. I'll say it, they pretty much sucked. And then they gave them a buff, and I honestly thought that buff was a good, solid buff. Maybe could have used a little more tweaking, but it wasn't bad. What really, really made the Titans OP though is when they buffed them again by unlocking their the modules and switching the mitigation, the resistance mitigation to all weapons, because now a regular robot, no matter what, stands no chance against a Titan. So
a leech has no power against a Titan whatsoever. It's just as good as a Corsac out there. It has no chance at all.
Right. And but looking at some of the reasoning that they're giving, too many people using the weapon. We know that that's why they target certain weapons and robots for nerfs if they become too prevalent. And I understand that they want more variety in people's hangars, which I think overall is a good thing, because ultimately, like right now, you look at all of the top players, they're running 4 and 5 leeches in a hangar. Some of them with all coronas. It's absolutely ridiculous. So, this is probably a way that they're trying to nerf the leeches a little bit without actually nerfing the leeches. But they're also saying that the range of the shotguns isn't what they were wanting. So then I'm saying, well, why don't you just lower the range? I mean, but that seems to be a problem that Pixonic has with any of their weapons, over range. They have weapons that are designed for long range, like the Flux, 1100 meters. It pretty much sucks up close, but it's great at long range. But then you've got the shotguns, which were out to 500 meters, but initially they didn't do a whole lot of damage at 500 meters until they brought the pilots into the mix and everybody was using shot grouping, which then, that's the whole reason for the shot grouping effect, isn't it? To give it a little more damage at range. And I think that that kind of overdid it, but instead of adjusting the pilot skill or adjusting the range, they are just going completely overboard. And like
that pilot skill is something that they could just simply remove from the skills. Okay, at the skill, nobody's put anything into it. Maybe some people put some gold in it to try and rush it to get it there, but other than that, that is a skill that we can replace with any other skill out of a variety of options that we have. So if it's the grouping that's the issue, then remove the grouping out of there. And we're going to keep going around in circles, and we're going to keep coming back to the 2 seconds, because eventually that's where it's all going to fall. Once you've dispersed your payload, okay, you're pretty much sitting duck. You better have an exit plan. Once you fire up your shots, you better have an exit plan of some kind, because if not, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. You're going to be a sitting duck.
Right, and another issue that I have with these, the way they're approaching these nerfs to the shotguns, is they're kind of doing it in a deceiving manner, because they're saying, okay, yeah, we're going to nerf the reload on them, but we're increasing the firing rate and we are increasing the damage. But they are not giving the full story. And I've had a lot of people over the last couple of weeks coming to me saying, hey, I'm not really too worried about it, because, it's still going to do good up close. You're going to get increased firing rate, increased damage. But people don't understand that over the course of an entire encounter, your damage, your overall output is going to be cut down by at least half because of that reload. And it's just really deceiving how they're approaching this, and trying to tell the players that, hey, we're kind of boosting it up with damage, which they did initially, but then the very next test server they dialed that way back. So that kind of right. And I don't even know why they dialed it back, because they absolutely were trash even with that really high damage. So I don't see how their method is going to really get the results that they're looking for, being the results that Tofsla, which, honestly, I feel sorry for him because he got the
sorry for him. Man.
He got the short straw in that one. Hey, Tofsla, guess what, buddy?
he was a sheep amongst the wolves, boy.
Yeah. Even Stan was like, "Nope, peace out. I'm out of here."
Yeah, I don't know.
But
Stan didn't want no part of that shit. And I can't blame. I can't imagine, being in that position and have the developers or the CEO come up and say, hey, Islander, this is what we're gonna do, and I need you to give your best pitch and sell it as a good idea to the players. Man, you kiss my big ass. That ain't gonna happen. Hell no. How do you do that? There's no way you can twist or turn it. An apple is still an apple, and you just can't turn it into an orange if you want to. Bad is bad, and they can twist it and turn it and do whatever they want to do to try and present it a little bit better. But at the end of the day, it still is what it is.
Right, and like Bradley just said too. In chat, he said that he likes how Tofsla said he was going to answer questions on the dev stream, but never answered any related to the actual shotgun nerfs, and that's true,
right?
Because and you could hear the disparity in his voice when he started having to talk about the shotgun nerf, because the community as a whole is 100% against. Well, maybe not 100%. I think the majority of people are against
99.9 and 9/10. It's right there. It's up there.
There are those few people like Michael over here in chat that runs 4 or 5 T-Falcons, and he's like, oh, hell yeah, I'm going to be doing even better without all the shotguns. But,
just wait till the nerf comes to the T-Falcon that it's too resistant. Michael's going to have a fit.
Yeah, well, as people start leveling up the Titans, the effectiveness of the T-Falcon is going to fall.
Yeah, it will fall off the charts. It's not going to have that resistance to those weapons just because of the mitigation. So and I'm still sitting patiently, Chief. I haven't upgraded my Titan or purchased a Titan. I have considered purchasing maybe the module and maybe start working on a module, but I haven't upgraded anything or purchased anything yet. Simply because I want to see what's still coming down the pipe and what they're going to bring. I just got a feeling that the next Titan will have some type of built-in ability, maybe a built-in quantum radar or a built-in, some kind of deal that's going to make it extremely overpowered. And if we know anything about our developers and the trends that they have, something that they're releasing is going to be a hell of a lot better than its predecessors.
Well, and really that is the trend. They're not going to be looking to nerf the Titans for probably a year or longer, and then we know that their trend and what they typically do is any new robot or weapon that comes out is generally going to be stronger than what's already released, especially with a first release like they had with the Titans, where it's the first 3 that we have, 2 of them were decent. The kid is trash, but the next one, I agree, I think it's going to have some almost must-have ability, and it's probably going to be something that can help offset the Ao Ming. Because even though they don't want to nerf the Ao Ming right now, as it is it's an issue when you face a couple of maxed out Ao Mings in the air at the same time. You're gonna have a hard time.
It's gonna be a bad day at the park, for sure. When you go up, and there are the clans already out there that are running their full squads full of Mings, and when they go up in the air, you're going to have serious issues with them, And it's not just the Dragoon. The kinetics, the machine guns are just as deadly when they're maxed out. They are just mind-boggling how quick your damage falls off.
They are. And even, a strong tank robot like the Fenrir that has good resistance, plenty of health and a shield. In, one salvo from an Ao Ming, he's done. He's dead. It's bad. But anyway, let me see.
Find a wall and hug it. That's all you can do.
Yeah. Oh, but anyway, like I was saying, I know you're just kind of full stop on Titans, just collecting the platinum, which is a good idea. Personally, I dropped the 700 for the Arthur just because he's really the best, best thing out of the box anyway. He's the strongest one. Without having to invest much further into it.
I was very much opposed to you when we first started talking about Titans, and I was on ship with the Yao Ming. But after seeing the Arthur, okay, and go up against the Yao Ming, and he has those big ass shields in front of him, all right. He does very good against an Yao Ming. He could just trade the payload, especially if he has the Dragoon weapons on him, and he can match the range. He can just sit there and trade punches. There's nothing that Yao Ming's gonna do to get past those shields. Somebody has to be countering or helping you out to attack from the side. So yeah, you know what? I'll concede to that. You were right when it came to the Arthur. He is the best of the three.
At least out of the box.
Yeah.
My Arthur, I haven't leveled it up either, and I haven't put any of the new modules on it or anything like that. But it can still do decent, and it is a decent counter against an energy Yao Ming. Not so much of a counter against the Yao Ming using the rockets, but at least the Yao Ming using rockets has to come within 500 meters, which is where this shotgun nerf is really gonna have more of an effect on the Titan gameplay than I think a lot of people realize. Shotguns are not the best choice for taking out Titans to begin with, but at least there's something, and there's a lot of them on the field. And this is, since this nerf, this one nerf to all the shotguns is going to really affect so many players and so many hangars that it's going to be a long time before people really build up the arsenal that they need to effectively counter any of the Titans now. And that's tough because they're not giving people a lot of resources or time to prepare their hangars for this big change, and it's a big change. I don't know.
Yeah, none of the current weapons right now, and I'm gonna refer to only the Max Titans. Nothing we have in the game as far as the regular robot fare very well, unless you're the only weapon that I found that did do pretty good, all right, and I still have it in my hangar right now, and I do run it pretty often. Is the Mola T, all right, simply because of the 800 meters. Once you max them out and you throw in all the extra damage you could possibly get on it, they actually do very, very well against the Titans, or at least the Yao Ming when he's up there in the air. I have fared very well against it. The only problem is you take that one slot, you turn it into a range slot, okay, which gives you one less brawler on the field if brawling is your style. But here lately, I have been adding it and running it just a tad bit more.
Well, and that that might actually be a good option for people, especially with this nerf coming. I see somebody else was mentioning here in the chat that they're looking for further discussion on alternative weapons. And when you're looking at alternative weapons to shotguns, at this point you're kind of going to be limited to what you have on hand. But if you're trying to plan things out, one good thing to do is probably try and put some kind of counter in there for the 600 meter range Titan, because that one is the toughest one of the bunch to counter. They're not called Mollet Ts. I don't know, whatever they are, but they 800 meter
Mollet, whatever it is,
whatever the heavy version is, and
yeah.
But like you said,
it does pretty good. And you know what, guys, if y'all do decide to upgrade a few of those and try them out, they are extremely cheap. They are very, very cheap. But although we are changing the economy on everything, I'm not sure what the pricing is going to be after this. I kind of see them being equal to upgrading a current meta weapon. I can't see the Molat and or the Molotov, whatever it is, and a cryo weapon costing the same to upgrade. There's just no way. At least I don't think so.
Right. I have no idea what Pixonic's going to actually do with the economy, but that's another just aggravation that's making this nerf all that much more painful. Like me, I only recently maxed out some gusts and some storms, and I only did that because those were so inexpensive to level up. And now I have to pull them all out of my hangar.
Well, I did run the shotgun setups on the Phantom, okay, and being able to get in there, drop the payload, and blink out was pretty effective. I got to admit, at least in the test server, it was very effective. So if I keep the shotguns anywhere, it'll probably stay on the Phantom because you're going to go in. The payload is going to be almost immediate that you fire off. You don't have to stick around after that. You get a little bit of extra damage that you weren't getting before. So if anything is going to be productive, it's going to be the speed bots. I mean, speed bots are going to be where I would like to use my my shotgun weapons, and I think that the Phantom will be the one to benefit the most out of all this.
The Phantom absolutely is probably still going to be the best option as far as using shotgun weapons, but that is very unique to the Phantom. Not only is he fast, but he gets that resistance when he is using his ability and running fast, which really helps him out. And then he has that instant blink to get the hell out of town as soon as he runs out of ammo. Even faster bots like the Pursuer, I know you've got your Pursuer, Blitz, or the Strider, they're all relatively fast robots, but none of them are going to be particularly well suited with the new shotgun weapons, because even though they're kind of quick, they don't really have that resistance, and they don't have the benefit of instantly getting out of dodge, and if you're in your like Strider, yeah, you can try and save up a couple of dashes to get the hell out of there, but there's no guarantee that that's going to happen. So what they're doing is basically making it to where this entire class of weapons is really only going to be viable on 1 or 2 robots in the entire game. And that's, I don't know, it's just terrible. And even though it's still going to be viable on the Phantom, I still don't think it's going to be better than, say, Cryos. Cryos are pretty sick on a Phantom,
Well, the Cryos are sick on any setup. I mean, let's be honest. I wasn't a fan of the Cryo. We talked about this early when the Cryos were released, that they just weren't going to be all that. That the Last Stand would have a counter them. That once you dropped your payload, you were going to be a sitting duck. But I mean, I think we were wrong. After they finally hit the live server and we got to put them in there and test them against the mustard of the game, I think they fared out fairly well. There was just so many variables that we weren't accounting in there for them, such as phase shift and all these other things that go in that can help you out. So the Cryos are turning out to be a pretty solid option on any setup, and that's kind of scary. All right, because they fall into that category of what word did he use? Universal, or where you could just use them situational, where they're just good for any situation, just about.
Right.
So, I don't know. We have to wait and see. But yeah, the Cryos are definitely a good option. If you have them, guys, start leveling them up. That's going to be leaning towards the new meta of the game.
And that is absolutely true. I agree with you 100%. But originally, the Cryos were decent, but not great. You have to remember that they gave them a pretty sizable buff shortly after releasing them, and that's when they really kind of started to take off. But now, absolutely, they are. I mean, we're going to have almost the second coming of the Orkan, just without the Orkan, because the Orkan is still trash. But the Cryos, man, that built-in additional damage that you get from the effect is huge. The slowing effect is huge, especially with the changes to lockdown. And now, with all of the shotguns getting nerfed into oblivion, lockdown is really going to be more of a rarity these days. So that's
it really is. You're going to see a lot of people alter their pilot skills, maybe removing the anti-control, and this is changing up the game. It's going to change up our play styles. There is a lot of different variety in the game now, and with the removal of the lockdown, I mean, you may see people start using lockdown modules if they still want to use the lockdown effect, but the lockdown is nowhere, having nowhere close to the effect that it had early on when it came out. So we're just gonna have to wait and see. We're gonna adapt, guys. We're gonna overcome. We've gone through all kinds of different phases of this game before. We went through the Spectre, then we went through the Ares, and the Ares train. Now we're going through the Leech. Now we're heading into the Titans. And, and we're gonna adjust our games, and the YouTubers are gonna be out there, and we're gonna be testing a lot of things for you guys and trying different out scenarios. And then once we put it out on video, people will adapt adopt it, and insert it into their own play style. So we're gonna be all right, guys. I mean, it's just a pain in the ass having to go through this repeatedly, because they're putting the orchids now in that little middle range where they say they're balanced when they're really not. You can take the orchids and put them back at their max damage right now, and they're still nowhere close to the cryo weapons. Okay, they don't have the freeze effect, and they don't have the additional power once that bot is frozen.
right. And looks like Wacky was mentioning about the lockdown, that people are forgetting about shredders. Not really, Wacky. I'm not forgetting about the shredders and the pulsars, but you have to remember that Pixonic has already said that they are expecting to give the same shotgun treatment to the pulsar and the shredder. Maybe not the nerf, but as far as the meter, the lockdown meter,
you're gonna have to hit so many shots before the lockdown will kick in. So you're gonna lose the random effect on the shotgun with those two weapons. If you're using them right now, enjoy them, guys, while you got them. But they will change as well. And the adjustment when they do change is not all that. All right, it's a little frustrating at first, okay, but you adapt to it very quickly, and you learn to read that meter bar.
Yeah, and honestly, I personally welcome the meter for lockdown. I think it's a lot better than the random lockdown crap that we had before.
I agree.
Now, one concern that I have with the shotgun nerfs is that looking through all of the available weapons, I think the biggest area where I have concern is in the light weapon category. There are very few effective light weapons right now for brawling. Very few. It's, well, almost none other than shotguns. So,
right.
I mean, what are we going to do with those? I mean, try and stack up a bunch of rhymes, but man, the rhymes cost just as much as a glacier to level up. It's
yeah. As a matter of fact, I'm in the process of upgrading rhymes at this time. I just finished off with my Deathwing, and I got my glaciers. I got all my heavy weapons, just in case something gets nerfed. I got something to move into, which is the kind of track that I'm taking now. I'm starting to upgrade things in advance, just so I can have options if and when a particular nerf comes. Like I've done, I'm set up for the medium weapons right now, so I'll be moving to cryos and back to scourges, which are still a very effective weapon. And now I'm starting to do that with the lighter weapons. I already have the shredders that are upgraded, and I'll be upgrading the cryos now. But those are 300-meter weapons. You got to be close to use those. So,
which
I don't know,
is then once again a problem when you're dealing with Titans, because you can't always get close to the Titans. So it's all kinds of issues. Looks like Wacky clarified a little bit more, saying that he gets that, but the Shredder and Pulsar don't have spread. Still a little bit off on that, because they actually do have spread. And I would not be surprised if they make an adjustment to the spread of those soon, because if you look at the new weapon that is on the test server that's going to be coming out, the Atomizer, that mechanic is insane as far as how much spread that thing gets when it starts to overheat. So that should kind of tell you what they think a strong weapon or machine gun style weapon at 500 meters should be hitting for, because that's a brand new weapon, and that thing, it really doesn't even hardly hit a target, you know, outside of like 200 meters once it starts getting hot.
If they add a shot grouping pilot skill to that, watch for that thing to become ridiculously overpowered and deadly. Okay, everybody, I've gone through it, and I've had this conversation quite a few times, so it's kind of good to talk about it now. Yes, it has a ridiculous spread where it widens open, but one thing that we don't have in the test servers, all right, is the pilot skills for the new weapons. If they add a shot grouping to that and they reduce that by 20 or 30%, like they have with the other ones, then you can look at a lot more damage done being sustained over a short period of time. And unlimited ammo, yeah, look out, guys. It's going to be the next great thing, all right? It's the next champ. I truly believe that. But we'll wait to the proof, till we can put the proof in the pudding when it hits the live server, and they add a pilot skill to it. And if that one's there, yeah, oh yeah, it's going to be something to be dealt with.
Right. Well, and another thing to look at too is we're losing a ton of our brawling weapons with this nerf. So this is another brawler weapon that they're releasing right around the same time that we're losing a bunch. So
imagine that. You come on now. I mean, nah, they wouldn't do that.
So even though it when it overheats, it has total crap damage at range, point blank, it's still hitting all of its shots. So
oh yeah,
it's gonna be a great brawling weapon, at least for the medium slot. Are we gonna see a light version? Maybe. I hope so, because then I might actually be able to play my blitz again. Man, I miss my blitz already. Oh, man.
You'll see it in my pursuer. I guarantee you, he will be rejuvenated with the light version of that weapon.
Yeah, and I've had people giving me, because I put out a video a few days ago about some of the changes I'm making to my hangar to pull all the shotguns out, and unfortunately I had no choice but to pull my blitz out, and people are like, oh, try magnums or try spark, and I'm like,
The spark are actually very effective
if you're not brawling with your blitz. Yeah, but that's the problem. Yes, I mean, the spark are decent, they do decent damage, but because of the lock-on, and people can argue and say, oh well, Manny does this, Manny does that. I'm not Manny. Manny is disregarding the purpose of the robot itself. Okay, if somebody is running spark on a blitz, it is no longer an effective brawler, period. You cannot argue that. There's no way. It's the lock-on. That is the biggest problem, the lock-on. Even with the pilot skill, having to wait a second and a half just to be able to fire when you are trying to fight for a beacon against one or more opponents, all point blank, you're done. But yeah, if you want to hang back, 200, 300, 400, up to 600 meters, then yeah, you can, use it effectively. But at that point, why bother with a blitz? Just get yourself an Al Quinn, and then you can do it from the air. So
well, I mean, you get that increased damage as you get closer. Now, I understand where you have multiple targets and your target is switching. That could be an issue. But the scourges are still very effective for brawling. So I don't know. It's something I would have to upgrade one more for the pursuer and actually test it before I could throw the book at it.
Well, no, I mean, without a doubt, you can do damage up close, and yes, that is a key feature of the Spark, Calamity, and Scourge, that it does more damage up close. But come on, let's face it, guys. A Scourge does a shit ton of damage at 600 meters. It's not supposed to. It is not supposed. That is one broken class of weapons, because by design, that class of weapons is supposed to do very little damage at range and a whole lot of damage up close. But they kept buffing it, and now it does a tremendous amount of damage up close and a good amount of damage at range. But the problem that I have with trying to brawl with those lock-on weapons, and not only the lock-on, but well, actually it all comes to the lock-on. But if you are trying to like run a pursuer and you are contesting a beacon, lock-on is going to be a problem. When you're facing cryos or flames, anything with splash or anything with a high burst, it's just not going to be effective. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I'm sure the chat's gonna yeah, and that's cool. If people disagree, it's just my opinion. I feel very strongly about brawling and what is an appropriate brawling weapon. The same thing with tanks. A tank, I think, needs something with splash damage, something to be able to address multiple revs, because a tank is generally going to find themselves in close quarters combat with more than one person. You can't sit back with a Fenrir and, pick off one person.
And that's where the shotguns were so effective in that close range battle. And this is why I think if they wanted to do anything to the shotgun, removing the range, taking the range down from 500 to 400 or 350 even, and making it to where if somebody's at 500 meters, well, you can't hit them with a shotgun, or if you did, it would be very minute damage to them. But up close and personal, if you're going to be choosing to fight your fights at 50 to 100 meters, you should have a good power punch, all right, and you shouldn't have to wait 2 seconds for a read.
Right. Well, and when I was going through my hangar to pull my shotguns out, I chose to leave my glory on my Fenrir, and that's because my Fenrir is not there to put out a ton of damage. He's there to tank, and a glory can still put out a ton of damage, even if it's only every 2 seconds. And then, I pulled the storms off and threw on the igniters, which is what I think a lot of people are leaning towards. A lot of people are going to like the Scourge, Spark, Igniter, Blaze, and Cryo. I think those are the main options people are looking at when they're pulling their shotguns out of their hangars. Which is fine. They're all good options. But keep in mind, folks, what's going to happen when everybody's running igniters?
The same thing.
Same damn thing.
Same damn thing.
So be careful. And I've had some people say, oh, well, maybe we should just, not level any weapons past a certain amount because everything seems to get nerfed.
Recently in that Stan put up that video where he has that little ass stat, and people threw out the comment, you should not allow more than 2 of the same robots per hangar. And Stan threw out the comment that that would do more to unbalance the game than balance it. And I would completely disagree with that. I think you should limit the amount of setups you can have in a hangar. Like running 5 leeches with 5 sets of Coronas, there should be something in place to stop that. But if somebody took the time and was spending money on all that, then of course they're not going to do that. They're still in a business to make money, and if that's the way they make it, and coming back with a nerf later on because too much people got it, is where it affects the overall community.
Right. But I do have to correct you on one thing. And all right. That is, it's not called Ask Stan. It is called Talking War Robots.
No. We are Talking War Robots. They are Ask Stan. We ain't gonna have it, Chief. Ain't having it. We started Talking War Robots. They can keep their Ask Stan, Ask T, Ask whoever the hell they want, and they ain't gonna be taking our damn name.
I don't care. I guess it was a good name, but yeah, we're the original. So
there you go.
All right. Anyway, man, I haven't really been getting a lot of people's feedback here in chat. I think most of what I'm reading, though, in chat is all the same. Everybody's like, screw it. Or everybody's saying, you know, screw all of the shotgun leeches. Hey, and I'm with you on both of those points, 100%. Unfortunately, though, Pixonic has already made up its mind. We are going to get this nerf. It is going to happen. They can call it a rebalance. They're not balancing anything. They are nerfing the crap out of it. If you guys have specific questions, though, like, you know, options for maybe a specific bot, I mean, myself, Islander, more than happy to give you some recommendations, so you guys can throw those questions into chat, and I will try to answer that to you. CDXX clan battles, asking for a shout out. No problem. Just stop. Just don't run 5 leeches, guys. No, just kidding. Yeah, go ahead. Stop by.
Let me address Bradley real quick. Yeah, Bradley. Sometimes I do run the 3 leeches. That's mainly more for power squads. Sometimes I'll start a video and not or forget to put my pursuer back in for the video. But generally, if I'm going to be running 3 leeches, it's because we're going to be doing some type of time drop against somebody else, and that's what I want to do. But one of those leeches, remember, is going to be the long range leech for 800 meters. So he's not going to be in there to brawl with anybody with Molots. But you're right, Bradley. Yeah, I do run 3 leeches sometimes.
And you know, I have my own opinion on that kind of stuff, but what choice do you have if you are in an S clan and you are in a full squad? You are going to run against other S clans running 5 leech hangers. So
right,
you really don't have much choice in that matter. Personally, I completely disagree with people abusing a meta like that. My personal opinion. I'm not gonna get too much into that. You all know how I feel. But I have more of a problem with Matchmaker and how it considers those situations when putting weak clans against them or randoms against them. That's my problem, which hopefully will not be as much of a problem within the next 2 weeks.
Very soon. Yeah, very, very soon. Hopefully we get that fixed up. I was talking with a Killbot from Gods. We had a pretty little interesting conversation where the guys from Gods, when they're running, I guess, and they get a random squad, none of those guys will drop a Titan now. They're going to fight you. You can drop your Titans, okay, but they're not going to drop their Titans. They're leaving their Titans out of the mix, and they're going to fight you just with the primary hanger that they have. A lot of them are running 2 hangers, which is set up for randoms and 1 set up for squads. So they're doing a lot of things over there on their side, good things as far as trying to make it a little bit more competitive. They know if they run their primary hanger and run their maxed out times, they're going to crush anything that comes up against them. So they're making altercations. So props and shout outs to a bunch of my buddies out there, guys, that are taking the time alter things a little bit to make the game just a little bit more fun. So shout out to the boys over there.
Yeah, that's awesome. But let's do a quick shout out to Pixonic developers. You guys went and sold everybody multiple hangers this weekend for 1,000 gold. Great deal. It's a lot better than 7,500 gold. However, it's completely pointless. 100% pointless to have more than 1 hanger in the game right now because you can no longer look around pre-battle to see what is going on. They need to fix that.
Yeah, that needs to change. I agree. The 1,000 gold slot I think is awesome. I have 2 hangers open right now. I can barely keep 1 full, so adding a 3rd or 4th or even a 5th hanger is not even an option for me. I have nothing to put in there except for scrap bots. So I didn't take that offer, although it is a good offer compared to the 7,500. And guys that want to have opened up extra hangers, it's a cheap way to go. So yeah, we'll give a little shout out on that. But they've got you're right. They got to reopen up the fact that you can see who's across the map from, so you can decide what you want to do. Once again, I'll go to what some of the guys over here doing. They're dropping 1 bot first, and that's the scout bot. And he's going to tell her, hey, we got a full clan, or no, it's random. So that's the only counter for that right now.
Right. And I used to do the same, or not the same thing, but I used to do a similar thing. I had my primary hanger You know, if I was going against stronger opponents or another squad, I would drop that. And if we were going against weaker opponents or randoms, I would keep a second hangar, which no premium modules were in it. There was no last stands, no, you know, phase shift, none of that crap. And none of it was maxed out. And that was just because, one, it's kind of fun to play those older robots again, you know, that may not be strong enough for my main hangar, but also to give them a chance. And we can't do that anymore, and it sucks. But I am absolutely glad to hear that there are clans that are at least making it a point to try and play with a lot of integrity. I think that's great. So hopefully others will follow suit. I'm sure not everybody will, but definitely would like to see that. What's up, Kitty, man? How you doing? Oh, man, we got over 100 people watching. Right on.
Awesome. Kimmy Lee, I like to use it for the six-pack leagues. Yeah, the six-pack leagues are something that's out there. I don't know if a lot of y'all know about the six-pack leagues. But six-pack league is where they use primarily old meta bots. I know they're doing it in Android. I don't know if it's caught on to iOS yet. But you pretty much use all the bots with the exception of anything that was dash bot and beyond. So you're using still the old meta bots, and nothing can be over level 6, either bots or weapons. And as far as the modules, I'm not sure. I don't think they use any modules. So it's kind of pretty much old time play, and everything cannot exceed level 6. Kimmy, correct me if I'm wrong on that.
Yeah, definitely. Kimmy is a good point of contact for that. I actually had a show.
There she is, no module.
Yeah, I had a show, one of the old Talking War Robots shows for six-pack folks, and had quite a few of the coordinators and stuff on. So yeah, definitely hit them up. It is a fun way to get back to the roots of the game before everything kind of got blown out and put out of proportion. So definitely worth checking out. Another good use, and this is probably not the best use, but another good use for a second hangar is to manage that stupid recommended upgrade. If you have all of your strong stuff in your main hangar, but you still want to upgrade some stuff in the background, stick it in your second hangar and, you know, focus on, you know, what you're wanting to upgrade, and it will show up in the order for the cheapest one or the shortest time, and you can upgrade your stuff that way. But hey, what's up,
yeah.
AD?
AD, what's going on, my man? Kitty, how you doing, buddy? Who else we got? Anthony, what's going on, Anthony? Appreciate all your comments and messages throughout the week, Anthony. Good to see you here, brother.
You know, I saw Anthony just mentioning, he said everyone should start running an ECU and Ansel shield now, throw off Pixonic's graph. But I've actually been thinking, if enough people start pushing off and using cryo weapons to where they become the actual meta, don't be surprised if you see a resurgence in the Ansel shield, because it will be just as effective against the cryo weapons as it was against Orkans. All right. Oh, other stuff. I know we've kind of been talking about this damn shotgun nerf for the whole time. The new operation just kicked off, right? A few days ago. I haven't really gotten all that far. I think I'm like level 8. But a couple of really bad things with it this time.
Are you're getting shotguns?
Yeah, you're getting shotguns. I mean,
that's just so bad, bro.
Does your development team and your marketing team not talk? Come on, guys. I mean, and it's a cool ass looking shotgun too. I mean, that new Halo, it looks cool. I mean, yeah, it looks kind of like a funky fish, and I've seen all the memes, but you know, it's still pretty cool. The new Phantom. Man, that thing looks great.
A squid. It looks like a squid with multicolors on it. Yeah, it does. But you know what? that particular weapon too, if that would have come out in Gathering Storm or something like that, would have been awesome. You know, having it come out right now, yeah, we're gonna get them, but honestly, Chief, who the hell's gonna upgrade them now? I mean, before we jump the gun, and we know we're getting the nerf, all right, but the final numbers have not come out yet, and Pixonic is known to throw curveballs at the very end, and I'm kind of hoping we get one here as far as the timing of the reload. But yeah, let's not go back to that too much. We've already covered all that. But yeah, it was kind of ironic that we're getting Halos and Coronas at the exact same time in the operations that the nerf is coming, and I don't understand what the purpose. I mean, I think cryo weapons would have been a much better option there.
Right, and like Boss Lady just said, felt like they were trolling us even more by putting them in the operations, and it really did feel that way. And prior to the dev stream, I know there was a lot of talk back and forth on social media whether or not they were going to just pull the shotgun nerf idea. Well, we all know what happened there, and they said no, we're doing it. But yeah, it just really not smart of them to stick them in the operation. But there was some things with the new operation I really liked, and I think it was Kimmy mentioned it just a minute ago, talking about we were expecting the Cerberus, and before y'all start saying, oh, Cerberus is trash, we were expecting the Cerberus, brand new robot, community designed. Whether you think it's strong or not, everybody has an opportunity to get it for free, which is great. They initially said they were going to put it at level 80 of the operation, but when it went live, they dropped it down to 60, which is great because it's going to get it into more people's hangars. And now, before y'all say it sucks, it's trash, it's not strong, you're right. It's not strong. It's balanced. And that's not something that we're used to seeing. So everybody's going to think it's weak. It's fun. This is a game, guys. Seriously, give it a chance. I've played with the robot. It's actually a lot of fun to play with. Yes, it has terrible health, but that is something they could always buff up later. Will they buff it up? Probably not. I mean, it's a free robot, but it's still worth having and playing for fun. So that was great. And another thing that was great with it is, still on the free line, they decided to give additional prizes above level 80 for the free players this time, which is great.
For the first time. They haven't done that before. I
mean, not the greatest prizes, but come on, guys. You're not paying anything for it, but this is a good reward for those that are really grinding out the game. If you are really a free-to-play player, you may not actually have a Leica Renner in your hangar. It's possible. You may not even have a Hades. And I'll tell you what, the Hades is actually a lot of fun. And with the nerfs to shotguns, a lot of people are kind of thinking that we might see a resurgence of some of the Pantheon bots. I'm not worried about a resurgence of the Pantheon bots because of Shield Breaker. So bring it on, Ares. But I thought that was great. I really did. And I'm not going to tell you all to go and drop money on the operation, but whether you finish the operation or not, it is still the biggest bang for the buck in the game.
Yes, and I will tell you to drop money in the operation if you grind to level 100 and you're done with it. I would say for everything that you will get on the gold track, it is beyond worth the $15 you would spend on it. That's just my 2 cents. If you complete it, then take the time to buy it. If you don't complete it, then absolutely do not waste your money.
Well, it's still worth the $15 if you don't complete it.
Absolutely.
I mean,
if you complete it and you're you're a free-to-play player or a pocket change player, and you're cautious about how you spend your money, and you might, whether you might have a hard time finishing the operation, then don't spend your money until you're sure that you're going to get the main prizes that you want. But it's still the best bang for the buck. It's better than the premium now, in my opinion.
Oh, and that was one other thing that I thought was a nice touch with this operation as compared to the last ones, even though the Halos is kind of a slap in the face. The fact that you did get a full weapon at level 1 of the premium operation, I thought was a nice touch. That way, if you do decide to drop the $15, you get something to show for it immediately. It's just unfortunate that it's Halos. So.
Yeah, but you know what? How about that Phantom at the end? I mean, that is just. I mean, it's a really nice design. Really looks sharp. I like it. I mean, I might even take the time to level up that particular Phantom to get in the game. I still have my Frozen Leech. It won't get leveled up. I don't think I'll upgrade that Frozen Leech. It's just going to sit there because it's part of the collection. But that Phantom, I mean, that can very well make its way into my lineup.
Right, and you know that paint job. If you guys look at it up close, it actually moves and twinkles and stuff. So that's actually, I think, I don't know if it's like a live paint job. I think some games is what some games call it. And I do believe that is the first paint job that we have like that. So and it's a strong bot. So I mean, there's no denying that Phantom is a very strong meta robot. Not as strong as a Leech, yeah, but it is still very strong. And it is
very competitive with the Leech. I mean, if you play that bot right, it is very competitive against the Leech if you use the blink correctly.
And the bright side to the Phantom is that it is the robot in the game that is going to be affected the least with the Shotgun Nerf.
I agree.
Yeah, Turbo Knight, you're going to wait till they bring the Phantom to the Super Chest. Yeah, you can. They are like 2 months behind on that, though, so I don't know if they've changed what they were doing. They used to put every special edition robot into the Super Chest after the special event or after the operation, but they are about 2 months behind on doing that. They still haven't put the Holiday Fenrir in yet, so... we'll see if they go back to doing that, but that was a nice change that they had made.
What update do we have coming up next? I mean, we're done with the Lunar New Year. Which one is next?
Ooh, the next event is going to be the anniversary.
All right.
I believe. That's May.
I think correct. I think you're correct.
Yeah, I think this is like the longest gap of the year with no event after this one finishes. And then I think the next one, April, is the anniversary event. Looking at update 6.0, according to Tofsla, who let a couple of things out of the bag on the dev stream as far as the 6.0 update. He did state that is the update where we are going to expect to see a new Titan. So,
right.
Not too far off. But I think it's actually kind of going to be nice to have a little bit of downtime, give us a little bit of time to get used to the merge, playing with each other at least, even if we can't talk to each other or squad together. But I think initially, I think it's going to be good to have like a good solid month of us getting used to how Matchmaker is working and to see how the actual changes to silver work. The silver change is not tied to an update. That is something to keep in mind. We are expecting the next update the end of February, first week of March. That's going to be update, 5.9? Or is it 5.8? I don't remember. I think it's 5.9. And that will be the update that does allow us to go cross-platform. But the actual changes to silver, and there was somebody posting earlier today, I'm sorry, I don't remember who it was. I know you even posted it on my Discord about how Titans don't give you shit for honor points. We know that. It's been that way since they've been out. They are completely broken as far as the honor system, but they are supposed to be fixed when they implement the changes to silver payout and relating that to the honor system.
Yeah, the honor system will change everything as far as the payout. Titans will be included, or should be included in that new honor system.
They say that it is going to be included. So if it's not, then they are going to have to fix it. Yeah, the reason I'm mentioning that is not tied to an update is because we could actually see that at any point between now and the next update. They can let that go live prior to the update, which in all honesty they probably should, so that if there is an issue with it, they know that it is not tied to other changes having to do with the update. I think it would be silly for them to release two major changes at the exact same time, because you're going to have some issues. It's inevitable, but there's a little less confusion if you release them at different times. Oh, that's right. It was Sam Whitaker that was mentioning that about the Titans. He was a little upset about that today. But yeah, we've known about that for as long as Titans have been in the game, unfortunately.
I'm just kind of reading the chat here, so I can pick up anything.
Right. And I'm not. I don't think we need to address specifically the stuff with the dev stream. I think we've kind of hit on it here and there throughout our discussion, considering the dev stream that they had was supposed to be all about the shotgun nerf. It only ended up being about a quarter about the shotgun nerf.
Yeah, a very small portion. Then they went to the questions, and prior to that, they were talking about other things, and they came out with a chart and gave us the long speech about the organs and the shock trains and weapons of the past. But back then they were not dealing with the resistance, and they were not dealing with Titans. So I don't think that they're comparing apples to apples there.
Right. And, if we really wanted to nitpick specific things that were mentioned in the dev stream, it'd be real easy, because some of the things that they mention almost every dev stream as far as their reasoning behind doing certain things is actually contradicted by their own changes in things that they're doing. So, for example, the shotgun nerf. They're saying too many people are using it. It became too much of the meta. It's too strong. So they want to put them into this middle range where it's decent but not too decent. Not everybody's using it. They say that they don't want to repeat the issue that they had when they nerfed the Orkin and what was the other one? Shock Train, which caused them to completely fall off, and then they had to go back and buff them later on. But they know full well that what they're doing to the shotguns right now is going to cause just that to happen.
We're going to test them out and see what they're all about to see if they're still viable. But my early prediction is that they're going to fall. They're going to fall from grace. They're going to fall right off of that chart.
Right.
Or any chart.
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be a place on the chart for it. So, I mean, I'm not the only one that's pulled shotguns out of my hangar before it even hit. I know there's a lot of people that are doing it already. So, yeah, once it actually hits, those of you that are just trying to get your little last bit with them, yeah, suck it up while you can, but they're going to go away. And for those of you that are thankful that those 5 leech hangers running all Coronas are going to go away, guess what? They are going to just switch from 4 Coronas to all something else. Cryos, yeah. Most likely. And I guarantee you that the folks that are running full maxed out MK2 5 leech hangers, they have plenty of silver and plenty of cryos already maxed out, and they are going to drop them on and not miss a beat.
Preloader, what would you run with the Blitz? I don't run a Blitz, but if I were to take a wild shot at anything right now, it would probably be the flamethrowers or the Blaze with maybe a lockdown module. I don't know, Chief, what do you think on that one?
Well, if you have 4 Blaze with a lockdown module, you could get away with doing that. It's not going to be nearly as effective, though. The other options, what I'm looking at personally for my Blitz, I just first, you all know I pulled him out of my hangar because I don't have enough weapons. The light weapon, we're hurting for light weapons. Pixonic, give us decent light weapons. But I think the best option for the Blitz to be played how he's designed is going to be 4 rhymes. And there's no shortcut to that. You cannot put pinatas on there because they're similar to a rhyme, because they are not at all similar to a rhyme. But 4 rhymes will probably do really well on a Blitz. Aside from that, if you don't want to play a Blitz, as a brawler, then another build that would probably hurt really bad is going to be 4, not the Wasp, the light version. What are those?
The
Sting. Yes, Sting. Thanks, Michael.
Yeah, there you go.
4 Stings do an incredible amount of damage, but it's a 600-meter weapon, and, you know, it's not very good for brawling. But 4 Shredders probably would be okay. I know Kine on there.
After the buff they just received, I think they'd be solid.
Yeah, I think Kine used to run Shredders on his Blitz, and it works really well. But keep in mind that there will be changes coming to the Blitz. I mean, not the Blitz, but the Shredders at some point very soon. Now, what all they do with them, I don't know. But we know their lockdown is at least going to change.
Till night, Chief and Islander. I'm still waiting for the Chief and Islander Ben and Jerry's flavor. What flavor would?
I think it'd be
coffee and pineapple.
Yeah, coffee and cigarettes. I think. No.
There you go.
Yeah, I think we're both smokers.
Yeah.
Gotta do something to keep the sexy voice up.
Amen. Hallelujah. Let's see. Hey, Momo, how you doing out there, bud? Good to see you here. Have you played the Ravana, and how strong do you think it's going to be?
Have I played the Ravana?
Yeah.
I have. It's pretty fun. Ravana's been out for a little while now. It's not an OP bot. So some people are not, kind of similar to the new one, whatever it's called. Brain's not working. The Cerberus, similar to the Cerberus, it is more balanced. It's not quite OP, but with the way its skill works, if you combine that with the right stuff, I think it's a pretty solid bot. It's fun. You can get in, you can get out, you can protect yourself. You got multiple chances to break lockdown if you were to get locked down. You can get rid of any corrosion that's on you. It's just a very high skill robot.
Okay.
What to run on the Ravana? That's a good question, because prior to the nerf, I would say just throw some Corona or Storm and you'll be good to go. That's no longer the case. So I think the next best option is going to be the Cryos, and if you don't want to jump on the Cryo bandwagon, or if they're too expensive, then I think you could probably do pretty good with really just about anything else. Depends on if you're going to try and brawl with it. You probably don't want Scourges, because between your ability and the lock on, it's going to be real hard to actually get any damage out. So maybe Tyrans, I think would be a decent option.
Well, I mean, the fact that you can get in and out of situations, I wonder how good the shotguns would be there.
Well, it does go fast when it's using its ability, and similar to the Phantom, it doesn't have resistance, but it's indestructible. It's got a phase shift. The only problem is it only lasts for 2.5 seconds, so you're not going to get very far. But I mean, it might still be fairly viable. We'll have to wait and see how bad the actual nerf is on the live server.
Gotcha. Yeah, that is true. I mean, we're gonna wait for the numbers and just see where everything comes out. I'm just kind of hoping that they're gonna adjust that. I'm not hoping. I'm really praying that they're gonna adjust that timing a little bit from, keep it out of the 1.8 to 2.2 second range. I mean, it's just gonna. You know what? We've covered all that.
Yeah,
I'll flashback on that one right now.
Oh yeah, igniters. Somebody else mentioned Go Step on a Lego. Mentioned igniters would actually be pretty good on a Ravana. I would absolutely not recommend Scourge. 100% do not put Scourge on your Ravana, because even with the pilot, it's gonna take you another 1.5 seconds every time you use, because when you use your ability on the Ravana, you lose your lock on. So then you have to reacquire your lock on when you come out. So.
Oh yeah, that's.
And something I would like to see though with the igniters and the blaze, and I know it's been mentioned a little bit here and there, the silent change they made to embers, even though they say they don't do any kind of silent buffs or nerfs, this was actually, I think, in general, a buff that they made to the embers, I think 2 updates back, where they changed the firing time from 10 seconds to 5 seconds, but it still gives us the amount of damage. It is now out of sync with the blaze and the igniters, which both still take 10 seconds to unload. I would like to see maybe the igniter and the blaze get dropped down to 5-second unload time as well.
Hey JD, thanks for coming by, bud. You take care now.
Yeah, there was just recently a small buff on the blaze. Got a little bit of a damage buff, which wasn't huge, but more importantly, it got a very small splash radius increase. And I believe the reason that they gave it a splash radius increase was because the splash radius on it was so small it couldn't get through the Arthur shield. Now I think it actually gets through the Arthur shield, so. Hey there, Roger. Thanks for the super chat there, buddy. Alright, well, if you guys have any last minute comments or questions, start dropping them into the chat now, if you guys don't mind. I think we're going to look at trying to wrap up the podcast. But, once again, a quick plug. If you guys haven't yet, which I imagine most of you probably already are, but anybody that might be listening to this after it gets posted up, swing by Islanders channel. Link is in the description and in the top of the pinned comment there. Stop by, subscribe to his channel. Puts out tons of news all week long with War Robots, and he is a straight shooter and tells you what he thinks. So definitely stop by and check out his stuff if you guys don't already. And Kine, thank you very much for that super sticker.
That's a pretty cool sticker there. Boss Lady, if it turns to Gorilla style play, Menders are going to do well. I think healers bots still do pretty well in the game. I would lean more towards the tier But yeah, I think the men are still a pretty solid little bot. I mean, anytime somebody drops a healer bot in a squad play, I just love that person. I just think to all means that they're bringing in something that'll help out with the healing. So yeah, they're probably going to do very well coming back a little bit.
Yes, menders are actually pretty good. If you have the right pilot skills on them, you can do some pretty good stuff with the menders. I recently brought mine back into my hangar. I'm kind of testing out all the different hangar or healers to see which one I'm going to keep in my main hangar. But if you guys do not have a healing robot in your hangar, really consider putting one in there within the next couple of weeks, because that is a lot of honor points you're missing out on, and when silver starts paying based on honor points, you're going to want it. But right now, there are definitely a couple of good healing options. The Nightingale is a really fun robot, and what I've seen some people doing with it recently is actually using it as a beacon runner. Mid-game match, oh man, they are tough if you don't have quantum radar, and you know, they are pretty effective at stealing beacons.
Thanks, Kimberly. You're welcome.
Roy Huang says, once cryo weapons become prevalent, the brawlers will be hiding a bit more while reloading. Is it time to break out the Norcums? You know, Norcums would actually be maybe not a great counter, but a counter for Titans, especially those 600 meter range Ao Mings.
I was actually using the Zenith in one of the test servers on a behemoth and death marking Titans and dropping the Zenith on top of their head. They were so slow moving that I was just scoring some really good hits. You know, it was fun. I don't think it's something I would bring to a meta match, but you know, for out there for regular messing around, it was kind of fun.
I actually ran into a player. I don't remember what clan he was in. He was in one of the S clans here on iOS the other night when I was streaming, I think. He had like 3 leeches. I mean, all of his stuff his hangar was maxed out. He had like 3 leeches, an Ao June, and a behemoth with maxed out Zeniths. It was funny. We didn't see his Zenith build because we lost. He had a maxed out Ao Ming too, so.
Yeah. Also, guys, real quick, AD just put up a video. Y'all check it out. I'm gonna swing over there and check it out once we're done here. He's running the Stellar Phantom already, so I definitely want to see what that new bioluminescent skin mechanics look like. I think it's gonna be pretty cool. So I want to take a chance of that. I'm gonna take a look at that. So AD's putting up a video right now, guys.
Yep, definitely stop by AD's channel. I will probably be releasing some content on that as well. I think they just delivered them today to all of our BR accounts. So thanks, Lone and Roy, for that.
I got to go open up my my special deliveries. I haven't done my special deliveries. I got like 2,000 or 2,500. I haven't done that yet. I need to go open that before
it just gives you what it gives you.
Right?
Yeah. It ends, I think, another day and a half, maybe? Soon.
Does it?
I'll have to, I had it open earlier. Yeah, I
thought it ended, I think it ends today, if I'm not mistaken.
It might. I mean, I know they have the sale today, the 50% off sale. So for the still got 2 days, 13 hours.
Okay, still a little bit of time.
Yeah, I missed out on like an entire week of doing my tasks. Wasn't able to play I didn't play anything for a whole week. So.
Okay.
Well, I think we are going to start looking to wrap it up, everybody. Thank you all for dropping by the podcast. Thank you all for participating, sharing your your opinions on different things. Very much appreciated. And seriously, keep in mind that this podcast is here for you guys, the community. Whether you agree with what we're saying or not, you're always welcome to, share your opinion as long as you're not being super toxic. And Eddie, once again,
yes, sir.
Thank you very much. I know we were a little past due on getting this one done, but really glad that we're able to get it done. And I know at one point we were well over 100 viewers today, so definitely probably our best or most active podcast so far.
Absolutely. And to all you guys that come by week in, week out to join us on the podcast, I mean, like she said, it's not about me, it's not about Chief, it's all about you guys out there. That's why we do this. So much love to you guys, and thank you for stopping by. Chief, I appreciate you having me on again, brother.
Absolutely, man. And yeah, that is going to do it, everybody. Look forward to seeing some more content next week, and hopefully everybody has a safe start to their week. Stay safe out there, and we'll catch you next time.